Morning guys, welcome back to another video. Working on the 240SX. I am the first one here this morning and I can see that Mickey's already got a job laid out for me. And I just need to burn some welds on either side of this bracket. Also, I noticed a few comments about this contraption here. This is Ricky's little welding experiment here. I was teaching him how to TIG weld. So this is actually a good weight to use because for something like this, you want to make sure that your material is resting and sometimes it's hard to hold it down while you weld. So I use that little weight and that seems to work pretty good. So let's do it. One thing that a few of you have noticed in the comment section is in regards to our rear hub and our rear wheel setup. It turns out we didn't have the rear e-brake assembly from the Z32. So in fact, basically what that means is the factory handbrake would not work in the car. So we went ahead and we sourced a rear setup out of a Z32. This is what I'm talking about here. So when you pull the e-brake cable, these shoes here basically press outward and that will lock your car, let's say on a hill or something like that. So we also picked up another set of Z32 calipers because the ones that we were planning on using, the ones that are already refinished, were actually S13 or S14 and they're not gonna work for us. I'm gonna break all this stuff down. I'm gonna refinish these calipers in the same silver that we did the other pair of calipers. These ones are a little bit rougher, so I'm gonna toss them in the blast cabinet and then we'll refinish them. Next up, mount those Falcon Azenas to these Cosmos wheels. Whoa, and these look freaking awesome. Look at the concavity on those rears. Concavity is not a word? Concavity.
The motor's in the car, it's been for a couple days now, and we're finally getting things sort of buttoned up. And now what I like to do is once everything's sort of in the car, we want to work on our systems, so our fuel system, our oiling system, intercooler system, all that stuff to get it all plugged up and complete so that when we're ready, this thing can fire. But right now I'm working on our cooling system. So we've got these badass coolers from Hayden. We're going to be putting two of these behind our intercooler but in front of our radiator. And what's really cool about S13s is they have this nice little area, which most cars have a core support, but there's a lot of material in here, an area for me to make brackets and mount these. This one's going to be for power steering since this system's on this side of the car. This one's going to be for oil since everything's going to run that way to the oil side of the engine. So I ran off to the store real quick and picked up some angle iron. I'm going to go ahead and use 40mm sections of this to make some little standoffs for the oil coolers. We'll bring you guys along for the journey as I whip all that stuff up and then we'll show you the finished product. Okay, perfect. So as you guys saw, I cut up some angle iron, put a nutsert in the core support here, and this will now reside right there. We'll go ahead and make one for this side, and I will probably do something up top just to shore up the top so that this doesn't walk around a little bit up top. You never really want to hard mount oil coolers because they tend to break, so having a little bit of movement in it is not a bad thing. Alright guys, so we got the oil cooler and the power steering cooler mounted in here. They are not plumbed yet, they're just basically in their resting location so we can get fittings counted and start plumbing. We're going to go ahead and mount up the intercooler, which I went ahead and actually painted off the top of it. I think it looks a lot cooler and it is visible from the top down, so I wanted to make sure that it looked the part. We've gone this far, we might as well make it all look nice.
Alright guys, what's going on? So I'm right here under the 240SX, and what I'm doing, you guys see the oil block that we have right there, pretty much in adapters, because we're going to be relocating the original location where the oil filter went, so we're going to put that somewhere else. This adapter has the opening so you can put a, let me get this thing to focus, so you can put the original oil pressure sensor in two different locations. You can either do it in the front or on the side. I'm going to put it right back where it went originally, which is in the front. And then if we ever want to add a separate gauge so we can have on the dash, we can actually just put that sensor here on the side. So this is pretty freaking cool. In order for me to do that, I had to remove this starter, which we already have set up. And I have to it didn't matter because I have to retake all the charging harness out. Because I'm going to be redoing this since we are relocating the battery to the trunk. So all this is going to have to come out regardless.
This is the charging harness, which pretty much controls the starter, the alternator, and it goes from the battery to the fuse box and so on and so forth.
That is a lot.
So since we are relocating the battery, this main power wire that goes to the battery to the alternator is no longer needed. So I'm gonna be taking completely apart, like I already started, the charging harness off, and I'm gonna be removing that cable, and I'm gonna be sealing everything back up. And this is the one that goes to the alternator. So it's literally from battery to alternator. This wire is gonna be completely removed, and it's gonna go back to looking like stock looking wires. And then we'll go from the alternator straight to the battery in the back of the car. And at the same time, Evans is right next to me in this area, and he's working on the rear brakes for the 240SX. What's Mickey doing? I don't know. He never does anything around here.
What the hell are you talking about?
So here we have it. Same harness, it just looks a lot better than it did before. So cleaned up, wrapped up nicely, new shield on it, and it's ready to go back in the car as soon as Mickey's done playing around with the car.
Oh my God.
Get it? That didn't do anything?
No.
All of us, we've just been going crazy working on this thing, and none of us have picked up the camera. I blame Evans for that. He's the one that just told us not to grab the camera, but
Way to go, Evans.
Yeah. Harness back up. We just discovered that we have extra power cable. This one was actually tucked in, so I didn't see it, and I'm like, oh crap. So we're just gonna grab a distributor, a positive distributor block, and we're just gonna run everything to a distributor block, and then from there just spread everything out to where it needs to go, like alternator, starter, fuse box, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So everything is back in here. I put the battery relocation kit. Now, more than likely gonna be mounted right there. I just took the fuse. Where'd it go?
It's over there on the table.
So here it is in this mess of stuff that we have on this table. And now it has a Walbro, a tiny Walbro pump. And we are going to be installing our ditch work, our DW200 pump. That's going to be replacing that one, slightly bigger. So if you guys can see, I drill a hole and I wire the wiring through the top pad of the fuel pump. I run it right through there because I don't, this wire is old and it's hooked up to the main harness, and the main harness doesn't always push full 12 volts when you need it.
So from here, I'm gonna go straight to the relay, from the relay to the battery, and then to the signal wire, which is pretty much ignition, what kicks the pump on. And then I'm just gonna ground this to a clean bolt. So right now I got this putty, pretty much like JB Will, a little bit thicker, it's just into rock. And I'm gonna seal this hole here, that way we don't have any fuel fumes go out of the vehicle. So right now I have the relay semi done. The long wire, that's the one that goes straight to the battery. And then the black one is just the ground. And then this one is what splits this loop that I have going on here. This is what splits to the main harness, the car harness that goes to the pump, and the other one goes to the pump. You guys know what I mean. And from there to go in the car. The fuel pump wiring should be done drying, almost. Oh my God, Mick, that's just still here, bro. Jeez. Yo, this fool fought it like 30 minutes ago. That thing's still hanging around here.
The next day.
So while these guys are working on all of the heat management underneath the car, as you guys saw yesterday, I disassembled the rear assembly, and we're gonna be reassembling everything with all of our new parts. And I've gotten everything all cleaned up, the dust shields are removed, and a huge shout out goes to Adam LZ for putting together a really nice instructional video of how to reassemble the parking brake shoe system. It's pretty complex. This is the old stuff here, and these are all of our new components and a lot of weird hardware and weird springs and things like that. So I'm gonna be referencing his video kind of back and forth, but the first step is going to be installing this piece here with our special dust shield, our e-brake bracket, and I will set you guys down on a tripod and we'll get to work.
I need to finish what I started yesterday. So yesterday we finished the relay for the fuel pump, and there's the relay. This is still open just because I want to be able to test everything first before I seal it. Same thing over here. Once we get the power going, and I believe in a couple of days we should be ready to start the car. And then this is the main wire that goes to the battery, to the relay, that's going to power up the fuel pump. So now that that's done, I gotta make sure that the battery has the power cable. Since we relocated from this location, it's gonna be in the trunk now, I have to run the main power cable to a power distributor block, which you guys can see there. So it'll be running from there to the back to the battery, or from the battery to there. Oh yeah, and then the fans
cable needs to be attached to that same distributor box.
Alright guys, let me show you what I've done so far. I'll probably explain this multiple times, but here's the fan relay. And then if you notice from that portion, there's a wire coming out. That goes to the fan switch, which literally tells the fans when to turn on. Top of that, here's the fuse box from that I ran, and this is the distributor block, the power distributor block. All the extra wires that came out of the fuse box that was supposed to go to the battery, there it is attached to that, and this is the main power wire that's gonna go into the back of the car. So I'm gonna run that onto the car all the way into inside the trunk where the batteries. I will make a small hole, make it go through it, and we'll plug that in. Once that's plugged in, everything up front should be getting power, and the fuel pump with the fuel relay should be getting power.
Okay, so that took a little bit longer than expected, or a lot longer than expected, but now everything is all assembled and we're ready to reinstall this entire assembly back onto the car, and then we will toss our new StopTech rotors along with both sets of Z32 calipers and everything. Cross your fingers, we have everything. I'm pretty sure everything is all installed that needs to be at this point. So let me get to work, we'll pop this in and we'll see if it works.
When Ev works on cars, it sounds like he just ran a marathon.
Dude, my body feels like it. Just gotta tighten it all down, get the brakes on, get the e-brakes hooked up. Z32, better be worth it. All right, so here is the finished product. We got both of the Z32 calipers mounted up, one for our primary brake, one for our hydro, and then behind here, which you can't really see, we have all the components for our factory e-brake system. So looks good, looks like factory. All right, guys, that's where we're gonna cut off today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to do two things. One, give it a big thumbs up, and two, hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace out, we'll see ya.